Hello, music lovers. It's your girl, Corina Avalos, your music and radio plug with Up in the Mix presents Heavy on the Honey. I'm very excited to chat with my boy, DJ Meech today. Some of you have probably heard of him. He's, I would say, a pretty freaking awesome rising producer. He did Sexyy Red Ski as well as Bow Bow Bow. And he's worked on other amazing things. Welcome, DJ Meech.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Welcome back to Nashville, too.
Appreciate it.
I know you were in Memphis for a little bit.
Yeah.
Were you there for the tornadoes?
No, I was just there because that's my hometown. You know?
Yeah.
That's where my family is, and I like to go back and visit them.
Yeah.
You know.
I know that when I spoke to you last, you were on your way there. I didn't realize you were going to be there for as long as you were, but I was like, okay, good.
Every time I go, I always stay for like at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At
to
least
spend
2
time
weeks.
with your mama?
Yeah. And my dad and my sisters and my cousins and the nieces, and go to the softball games and the baseball games and the football games when they come back around. But
did you see the tornado? Because there was one that touched down in Millington.
No, I think I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard like a weird whistle sound.
Yeah. That's frightening.
Yeah, but I didn't see it though.
Well, good. I don't think it was, anything too crazy, but that's still, Tennessee's going through that season right now.
Yeah, so. Tennessee always have crazy tornadoes, kind of like every year.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting more prevalent though. Like I think it was an extended period of days where we had the warnings. Mm-hmm. I was like, my God, like, can we just, Jesus, praise us. But actually, since we're talking about Millington, I was curious to know what it was like growing up there.
You did some homework. How you know I was from Millington?
That's my job. That's my job.
Okay, growing up in Millington, it's country.
Mm-hmm.
Super, a lot of land, a lot of horses, a lot of cattle, cows, chickens. Like right across the street from my house, the roosters would crow in the morning, like cock-a-doodle-doo. Like that was every morning. Me going to school. It's not a lot of light in the country. Like, so as a kid, like waking up to go to school, it wasn't like light outside. I don't know if it's like that in the city or not, but it was always dark.
Yeah.
Like every morning I woke up to go to school.
Yeah.
But dirt roads, a lot of land, cotton everywhere. Cotton field. My house is right next to a cotton field. Like literally, I didn't have a next door neighbor to the right. It was just like 100 acres of cotton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's basically how it is. Just the country, just dirt, dirty, everything muddy. Don't nobody live back there. You know what I'm saying? It's just dirty and dirt. That's it.
Is it generational that you've had multiple families just live in the area for a while?
Nah, actually, my people from Whiteville, Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like a migration. Whiteville, Tennessee is like an hour away from Memphis. And Millington is like 45. Millington is, depending on where you at in Memphis, it could be a 45-minute drive. It could be a 15-minute drive. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If you're downtown, you can get to Millington in about 15 minutes. If you in Cordova, it's going to take you about 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? If you in the inner city, it'll take you about 25, 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But my people actually from Whiteville, Tennessee. And that's as dirt road as it get right there. Like, it's literally a drive-by town.
Yeah.
So that's where my people came from. Then they came to Memphis back in, like, the 40s, the 1940s. They came to Memphis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So your family has been there for a while?
Yeah, they've been, my family been stationed in Memphis for a while now.
Yeah. Are you the first person, I would just have to ask because of you telling me that you are, from somewhere that's very small. Are you the first person to want to do music in your family?
Yeah. I was the very first. Yeah.
Yeah. And what even inspired this journey?
So when I was a kid, I was like 6. My mama bought me a drum set. Right. She bought me a drum set. We was living in Westwood. That's Memphis, but it's in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. So Arkansas, it's like Memphis is actually in 2 states, kind of.
Right.
But she bought me a drum set, and she would never let me play it because it was too loud. It was a full drum set, like the bass drum with the kick, the snare, the cymbals, the toms, all that. and she never let me play, right? Ever. My whole life, I never was able to play those drums. And my uncle, who was actually just 1 year older than me, he played the drums in my granddad's church. And he was so cold, Uncle Jay. And I just used to watch him play. Like I used to sit right next to the drum set at church and just watch him play all the time. And then after church, I'd try to get on there and do my little 1-2, but I wasn't good though because I never had practice and stuff like that. So I just try to play there and be like, man, you trash, all that would. But I did that for so many years, and I just always loved the drum. So that's where it started. It started with my mama buying me a drum set that I couldn't even play. Like a full church drum set, she had to spend like $1,000 on it.
Yeah.
And I never was able to play it. I just used to be able to play the drum pad in my room. That's it.
Did you ever end up learning how to play the drums?
I never learned how to play the drums. Still to this day,
but hey,
I never learned how to
you
play.
are a killer producer. You can play the drums on FL.
Exactly. That's all that matters, right? That's all that matters right now.
I mean, here you are. Here you are.
Yep.
So, if I'm not mistaken, you went to MTSU.
Yeah, I went to MTSU. That's a fact, yes.
Okay. And what did you study?
I studied business. I studied economics. I studied actually sports broadcasting, radio broadcasting. And then I veered off into a major called interdisciplines, where you kind of merge all those together and just kind of reflect on your college career. It's kind of like a journeyman major. Pairing a whole lot of skills together, if that's the route that you took, which that is the route that I took. Yeah. And I finished off with it.
Yeah, well, I had no idea you were also a journalist. Period.
Yeah, I was a good writer growing up.
Yeah.
I did good on all the tests. When it came to writing, telling my story, making those stories, stuff like that. You know, writing assessments and stuff like that in school.
Well, you're a Gemini too, and Geminis are great communicators, so I could see where you're naturally like a journalist if you wanted to tap into that. And, sports, what guy doesn't like sports?
Yeah, facts.
But when you went to TSU, I guess, when was it? Was it there that you actually started to produce?
So I started to produce after I transferred away from MTSU and transferred back. So my story kind of like, I got kicked out of MTSU and then got reinstated like 2 years later. And that's when I started to produce when I got reinstated. So I was about 21 when I started to produce.
I mean, that's still pretty young.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me it's older, but I'm a fast learner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And when you jumped into production, when did you realize like, okay, I'm actually like, I could make a name for myself in this? Because, a lot of people, they may do it for a little bit and then they get discouraged because it's not, they're comparing themselves to someone. But I do think that in some degree you have to have like that belief in your own self. And you strike me as someone that has the confidence to just be like, I can do anything. And so, but it's still at the same time, you're a realist. So was there ever a moment where you doubted, am I doing is this the correct path for me? Or like, where do I go from here? How do I even get a placement?
Yeah. It's going to be moments of doubt with whatever you do in life if you have a passion for it. So I most definitely went through that. I think I always had self-confidence because my father, he drove me to do a lot of hard things as a kid. A lot of physical labor, a lot of mental labor, a lot of him challenging me and him making me challenge myself to do things mentally and physically. So I always had the belief in myself to know that I'm a person that's capable of, basically anything because he put me to the test so many times. And I was able to prove to myself through him and validate that I'm somebody that can accomplish anything that I set my mind to.
Yeah.
So that just stuck with me from a kid. And it's something that I never thought twice about as an adult. And whatever I find passion for and put my mind to, I believe that as long as I do it to the best of my ability, God gonna give me whatever I was supposed to have, from doing it.
Yeah.
Whether it be sentimental, something of sentimental value, whether it's some of physical value, money value, it really don't matter. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
I think me carrying that confidence allow other people to take a liking to me. And that's specifically how I knew in the music industry that I would be able to, you know what I'm saying, at least put a mark on the board that, you know, I was there. You know what I'm saying?
Like you deserved your place in
Well,
the room.
yeah, well, I was granted a place. And my mark is right there on the board with thousands of other great people. You know, my little mark can go right there in the corner for now. You know what I'm saying? That's what it looked like.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your dad, you know, being an influence on kind of building up that drive. Were your parents supportive of your career?
Oh, they always been supportive of me. So, yes, they were. Yeah. They didn't ask too many questions. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't ask too many questions. I just told them what I was doing. They was, you know, more so like, you know, keep your grades up and stuff like that. Because I was doing all this stuff while I was in school. Yeah. As far as DJing, hosting, throwing parties, and making beats. It was all while I was supposed to be, you know, trying to get a college degree. So they was just like, you know, as you keep your grades up, all that, you know, I was lying to them. Yeah. My grades were slipping and stuff like that, but I was making so much money doing what I was doing.
They weren't even asking questions. He got it.
Yeah, they really wasn't. They really wasn't.
Yeah. And you used to DJ.
Yeah.
That's where you get your name.
That's where I got the name.
DJ Meech. Yep. Yeah. And you DJ'd in Memphis?
I DJ'd in Murfreesboro at MTSU. I DJ'd in Clarksville at Austin Peay State University. And I made my little rounds in Nashville. Yeah. I never went back home to DJ. Yeah. Yet. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is actually something I was curious to know. Like, how did you make that pivot from... Was that actually what made you realize, like, okay, I'm doing really well. I'm actually really good at being a DJ. I want to pivot into producing.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Natural progression.
Yeah. Some people do it the opposite.
Oh, you mean like...
Where they go from producing to DJing.
Yeah. They do. They do. A lot of people do that.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, you're here, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess you mentioned faith just a second ago. And I know that you are very faith-based. Do you think that believing in God has really helped you really stay focused, locked in, and also positive about your career progression?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, I asked God for a lot of things that he gave me. You know what I'm saying? And I've been prayed over my whole life. Real prayer warriors. Yeah. And, you know, I'm definitely ordained, chosen. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely I'm one of God's children. And it was put on me. It wasn't nothing that I did to deserve it. It was the elders around me and the people around me, you know what I'm saying, putting it in me, putting that spirit into me. You know what I'm saying, telling God to look after me. And he did because of them, not because of me. You know what I'm saying, because they was good people. And that's what they asked for when it came to my life and my future. So I always kill God first. You know, as humans, we do lose our way sometimes, but I always know why I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. To give him thanks when you get crazy placements. Like we mentioned Sexyy Red. You have, I don't even know what the record is now with Bow 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 and even Ski, which I played both at my wedding. But those songs, like Bow Bow just got remixed again by another person. First it was Krayshawn Rock, and then now Bad Baby.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
When did she do that?
I want to say sometime like maybe even just a week or two ago.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Sexyy Red is for the girls. She's letting everybody hop on that. I'm not mad at it because she's like, get it, girl. Like, go pop your shit. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the song that you were on. Yeah. So, I mean, I can't even imagine what that's got to be like to know that your song is, somebody's grandma knows what that song is.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a fact. Yeah. I hear it all the time on the radio. Just driving past other cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Sexyy Red?
It was cool. Yeah. Sexyy Red is super cool person.
Yeah. She gives me that energy. And she's a Midwest girl too. You know, we're sweet, but, you know, honest as well. if we have to be. And she seems very down to earth no matter how successful she's gotten, you know?
She always got her baby boy with her.
Yeah.
Yep. Always.
She calls him Chucky, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Yep.
I'm sure he's not as bad as she. Well, no, maybe he is.
He good. He good. I seen him. He don't do nothing but just he like
a kid.
He be on kid shit, but he really be on her.
Yeah.
Like he want his mom.
Well, that's a good sign. Yeah. That means that
she taking care of.
Yeah, mama's boy. But is there anybody that you have had the chance to work with that you used to be like, man, that would be so cool to work with them, and then you've actually accomplished that? I mean, Gucci's pretty legit. You got to work with Gucci, Lil Durk, even some Moneybag.
I never wanted to work with nobody in the music industry but my friend Tay Keith.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. To work with your buddies.
Yeah, work with my friends.
Yeah. I mean, that is always a blessing because not everybody gets to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Working with artists, it's cool, but I don't have a personal bond with them. Yeah. The sentimental value is not really there. It's just money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then the fame or the popularity that you get from it, it's cool.
Yeah, but it's not something you're seeking.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's understandable and real. I understand that. And having Tay as one of the people that, I guess he's an integral part in even just both of y'all coming up together. I'm sure that must be amazing and rewarding to, like, you know, go from roommates in college to, like, just being super successful in the business. The music industry is cutthroat, so you guys are blessed.
Yeah, it's very much cutthroat.
It's a revolving door. Some people can get in, but it's how you maintain your position in the business.
Yeah.
That is almost more impressive, which I'm just curious if there's any advice that you have for anybody, whether it's a producer or even just an artist or that wants to work in the business. Is there any advice that you have for them on breaking into the industry?
Breaking in? Mm-hmm. To break into the industry, you really got to want it. So you got to put your money up. You got to put your time up.
Yeah.
And you got to challenge your skills and your creativity, whether that's in management, owning, A&R, rapping, singing, producing, executive producer, whatever you're doing to break in, you got to put up your time, you got to put up your money, and you got to challenge your skills. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Challenge yourself to be better every day. And if you do those three things to the best of your ability, you'll probably get in there.
Yeah.
It's not super hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely relentless. You just have to be, like, you have to want it. You're right. Nobody else can want it more than you.
Right. If you're able to, you know, take yourself to that threshold and conquer that threshold and always create a new threshold for yourself, you'll get there.
Yeah. So, and I guess this is kind of a second part to that question. You've been in the business for a while now, and I'm sure you've had the opportunity to come across many people in your path, good and bad. If you have any advice for artists or producers, like any green and red flags that they should look for before they sign on that dotted line, what would those things be?
So it's a lot of different ways to do paperwork in the music business. Like, if you just, you know, in my shoes, you a producer and you do a song for a big artist, you know what I'm saying? Before you sign on a dotted line, it's just as simple as making sure you got a lawyer that care about you to read your paperwork. That's going to ask the proper questions. And you don't know that when you first get started what they look like, but you know when somebody cares about you and when somebody don't. Sometimes. That's even hard to know. But the first thing to start with before you sign on a dotted line, artist and producer, make sure you got a lawyer that care about you. Don't be scared to pay them their percentage.
Yeah.
Or their retainer because you really need that person. But they need to really care about you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whether there's somebody in your family, a family friend or something like that, just make sure they really care about you.
Yeah.
Other type of deals like, you know, artists and producers can sign to record labels and stuff like that. again, make sure your lawyer is there every step of the way. Make sure your lawyer really care about you. Pay attention to, who you dealing with. You don't want to do business when it comes to music. You don't want to do business with culture vultures. You don't want to do business with manipulators. And about 85% of the people doing business are culture vultures and manipulators.
Yeah.
They'll use you for your agenda. Well, they'll use you for their agenda. And that's what you don't want because it just makes the creativity just plummet. And, it take you under.
Right.
And that's what a lot of artists go through. And a lot of people rely on substances to get through that. A lot of people, a lot of people get in the music industry and then they get caught up with culture vultures and manipulators and it just send them down a path that's not good for their health.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mental health is real.
Right.
So I would say that before you sign on the dotted line, make sure your lawyer is present every step of the way and pay attention to the people you're dealing with,
Absolutely.
Make sure they care about you too.
Yeah, because I always say this, and this was a lesson I learned very hard, is not everybody's money is good money and not everything that shines is gold. So just because it sounds too good, it probably is too good to be true. So you don't need to affiliate with everything that comes across your desk. Some things just aren't supposed to be in alignment with what your vision is. And that's okay. You don't need to do business with everybody because it actually might not be good for you. And sometimes I get it, like the money, like having the money dangling in your face is awesome, but you could end up in a situation where you're like, why would I do that? And yeah, you're right. The lawyer, having somebody on your team, even just having a team, not even your attorney, having a team of people that genuinely care about you and your well-being is imperative.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just a support system too, where they can, if you're not seeing it and they are, listen to them,
Yeah. People that love you.
Yeah.
Support system got to be people that love you, not people that you just, kind of paying. It can get to that point, but I would prefer like my family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just my blood. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to get on a lighter note because I know that you have a lot of awesome things that you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for DJ Meech?
Oh, it's hard for me to speak on. It's hard for me to, I'm a little superstitious about it.
Well, you don't even have to be specific. It could just be like, you could even talk about things that are not in the music. Like if you want to, I know KJ is, doing his merch now. And he was mentioning to me a drink a couple months back. I'm not sure what's the status on that. I want to still try the juice, but I haven't tried the juice yet. But what is something that you, even if you want to manifest it, like, I want to buy houses, become a, I don't know, a dad.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give you a little something. Since you spoke on KJ, me and KJ, we got an album on the way. That's for one. Two, we got a producer camp coming up for the youth. A lot more details coming on this soon, but the first city that we stopping in is gonna be Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So that's on the way. To say a little bit without saying a lot, we got music coming up that's gonna be broadcasted, not just over the radio, but more so on television.
Okay.
So that's cool.
Love this.
Yeah, that's something nice that we got coming up. I'm working with a couple of big artists right now on albums, and we just going through beats, seeing what they like, seeing if we can get some album placements.
Yeah.
I'm actually planning on moving back to my hometown.
You're gonna move back to Memphis?
Yeah.
In like soon?
Probably in 1 year from now.
Oh my God. That's exciting.
Yeah. So we got plans to build in Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, sometimes being home is good. I would go back home in a heartbeat too, but the music industry isn't there. At least you have Memphis. Chicago doesn't really have a place for me. Yeah. But I mean, I support that. A year from now gives you more than enough time to I guess tie up any bows here. And then that way when you go back that way, it's like opening a new book without having an unread page on a different book.
Yeah. They say home where the heart is.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I genuinely appreciate you coming, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me and sharing all of the things that you have and sharing advice to future listeners, people that might want to get into the music business, producing, or whatever it is that they want to do. But I hope I can have you on again.
Most definitely.
Thank you so much. This is your girl, Corina Avalos, your music and radio plug with Up in the Mix.